On today's video, I am going to cover 13 ways that you can get past the mental blockage that's holding you back so that you can start actually having some breakthrough in areas where you want to grow in your life. Welcome to the Results Kill Excuses channel. I'm your host, Greg. I have been telling my story about my 12-year healing journey, spiritual awakening that started in 2012 when I hit my rock bottom. And I would love for you to not have to hit your rock bottom, but I am on a mission now to help men and encourage men, inspire men to release their vices, embrace healing their emotional wounds, and ultimately stepping into the anointing of being a divine masculine leader here on this planet, right here, right now. So without any further ado, let's get into today's subject: mental breakthroughs, mental blockages. I understand how painful that can be. I remember a time when before 2012, I was still very engaged in my alcoholic patterns, my THC heavy use, and ultimately I just had this pain that was in my mind, in my heart, in my soul, and it really had me in a state of depression, state of anxiety, but ultimately a state of inaction. I knew there was things that I wanted to do. I knew that there was things I could do, but guess what? I didn't know how to put my life into action and to break through this invisible mental barrier that was holding me back, this resistance. And once I figured it out, and it wasn't just magical and epiphany that my life just got better overnight and I started doing things. But once I did start to push past it and get to the other side, I was able to actually start creating some momentum. And I want you to believe that you can also create some momentum. That is why I am here today to share with you 13 ways that you can push past your blockages. Stick around to the end. There may just be something that surprises you in this 13. Number one on the list. Number one. This was actually the third thing I did, but number one is to seek professional help. When I hit my rock bottom and I knew that I could not keep doing that, I was either going to land up dead or in jail, right? And my time had come. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I was feeling a desire to change the course of my life, the direction of my life. I had to start by taking 100% accountability for everything in my life, all that had happened up until that point. I then had to say, what is the most damaging thing in my life? And it was alcohol. So I released that. And I also said, you know what, THC, you're going to have to go as well. And then third was this: seeking that professional help. It takes a true warrior, a true savage, a true hero. It takes a tremendous amount of bravery to say, one, I got a problem, and two, can someone please help me? Especially from a man's point of view. I think women are way more programmed and naturally open to asking for help. But man, we will not ask for help. And so I highly encourage you, if you're going through this chapter of your life where you're feeling a lot of blockage and not a lot of action and you just can't get things going, please consider seeking professional help. Number two on the list is to build a support network. And that's incredibly important for you to realize that you're not alone. There are other people that have been in your situation and have overcome. Guess who could be one? Right here. I am a part of your support network. I am here to support you, to encourage you, to cheer you on. And trust me, I am not alone. There are many people, but it's also really important if you can find people in your community. A lot of times it's really hard. I will preface, it's really hard to include friends and family in that support network because a lot of times you have to realize everybody's going through some shit. And so if you pull people in and you start dumping out a lot of the stuff that you're holding inside of you onto your friends and family, it's going to overwhelm them. But I've always said this, right? The most incredible friends that you could have in this day and age on this planet is someone that when you're having your worst day, they can peel off some time and be present with you. Not try and solve your problems, just be present to let you speak, to be heard. And number two, when you're kicking ass and you're winning, they literally are the president of your fan club. They are cheering for you. They are planning the victory parades. And if you can find that in one person and in a lover, oh man, you are a blessed man for sure. You are blessed. So that's what I look for. Number two, support network. Number three, very, very important, is to set small, achievable goals. I can't tell you how many times I have seen people say that they're going to get back in shape and then they start posting it up, right? I'm at the gym. And how long does it last? We've all seen this, right? Because you go from 0 to what? 7 days a week, 5 days a week. It's too much. As much as you want to get the results fast, and that's the problem. Most people burn out because they do not set small, obtainable goals. There's an incredible book, Atomic Habits, where he talks about really setting ridiculous low bar goals. So, like, if you were wanting to get back into the gym, right, and you haven't been forever, right, don't say 5 days a week, 7 days a week. Say literally 2 times a week for the first 2 weeks. I want to go twice a week for 5 minutes. And it sounds dumb. But the problem is right now is you lack self-confidence. And that's a big part of the blockage and the resistance that you're experiencing. So if you were to set something so silly, like I'm going to go 2 times for 5 minutes, chances are that if you can at least go twice, you probably will stay a little longer than 5 minutes. And guess what that does to you? It builds your self-confidence. But when you say, I'm going to go 4 times a week for an hour, and you only make it 3 times for 45 minutes, guess what? You've now set yourself back because you didn't say what you meant. And it is so important in reestablishing confidence and trust with yourself is that you say what you mean and you mean what you say. You have to start really honoring your word. So super important, set a low bar, make them stupid silly, at least just progressively, right? It's like 2 times for the first 2 weeks, 3 times for the next 2 weeks, and then you can get to 4 times, but even keep the time very low and reestablish that commitment to yourself. So that's a great number 3 on the list. Number 4 is that you need to establish a new routine. You need to have daily structure. You need to have literally sit there and say, how do I build in this new thing into my current life? And you need to look at your daily structure. You need to make it a priority. And you also have to realize that it is time for you to be consistent. Consistency over an extended period of time is what's going to really help for you to do that. And another thing that I like is looking at the real big picture, not just saying, hey, I want to save this amount of money or I want to lose this amount of weight. I want you to really start looking at how can you become more financially independent for the rest of your life? Or how can you stay in shape for the rest of your life, right? And so what are you going to do to establish that new routine? So you set a goal and then you reverse engineer it. What does it take you to get there? And how are you going to commit to that? So important. Number 5, I've been talking a lot about this, but your goal, your focus area could be anything, but for a man to get through his mental blockages, it is so important for you to focus on physical health. Like physical health, nutrition is really at the top. It is a great starting point. I'm a huge advocate, mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health. Physical health, though, when it comes to men, it's like the healthier you feel, the better you feel, the more confident you feel, the more energized you are, the more focused you are, right? The more loving you are, kind, because there's something about it when you're able to really feel like, man, I feel amazing. I feel strong. I feel powerful. I feel healthy. I feel accomplished. It's like that is gold in the heart and the mind and the energy, the soul of a man to feel physically stout. So definitely focusing on your physical health, making that a priority, but knowing, do not jump overboard. Take it slow. Take it slow. Ease into it. Number 5, focus on physical health. Number 6, you want to practice mindfulness, meditation. I have an incredible mindfulness routine every single morning. Everything from listening to positive affirmations, right? From the minute I go in the morning, I don't wake up excited. So I got to listen to some positive fire breathing, rah, 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 beating the chest, banging the drums, right? Running into battle affirmations. And I know that that will help you too. But then I come down and I start to journal and I start scripting and I start writing about what I'm grateful for and the intentions and really start to build up some of the affirmations of the what I envision myself becoming and being. And then I really believe in meditation and prayer. Because again, we are spiritual beings. So this is really a spiritual practice for you to commit to each and every day. That's 6. We got 7 more to go. Can you hang in there? Are you still ready? You still locked in? Is this engaging content? Comment down below if this is the type of message and the content that you can stick around to, can subscribe to this channel and really get something from. So I appreciate you tuning in today. We got 7 more to go. Stick around. You may be surprised. This is a huge one. A lot of people have addiction to number 7. You want to challenge negative thoughts, right? I used to be so guilty of being a negative thinker. I still, when I am actually trying to work on an addiction, I really believe that negative thinking is an addiction. It's programmed in me to always be doomsday, worst case scenario. Do you understand what I'm talking about? And so we have to really start restructuring our mind to start believing that, guess what? Anything is possible. What if everything turned out better than you could ever imagine, ever dream? This is a part of that journaling affirmations, right? You have to start saying, I am powerful. I am healthy. I am sexy. I am strong. I am abundant. I feel sexy. I know I'm sexy. I see myself as powerful. I see myself as radiant masculinity, right? These are the affirmations that you need to start washing your mind with to restructure who you are, switching up that self-image. Then, number 8, we're coming down, last 6, engage in activities that you enjoy. What do you love to do? Hobbies, interests, creativity. Again, it's so important. Listen to me. When I say, "What do you love to do?" it should be something that you are having to work at. If you love watching your favorite team or watching a show, stop. That's not doing. That's not doing. That's watching and waiting. That's just sitting there. Like, find some hobbies, right? Go out and volunteer. Find something that you could go do in the garage that involves some power tools and some creativity and banging on stuff and breaking things and putting them back together. Find some things you love to do. Working out in the yard, gardening, right? Going out and hiking, exercising, group classes. I mean, there's a lot of different things, but make it a focus that it's an activity, not just, oh, well, I like watching my team. This is a part of the blockage. I'm telling you, I haven't watched sports in more than 12 years. It's been probably about 14 to 15 years that I've been an active watcher of sports and entertainment. I just don't have time for it. There's too many other things I want to do. And we have such a limited, finite amount of time on this planet that I'm going to do those things versus just sitting there and watching other people do their life. Do you catch my drift? Let's move on to number 9. Limit things that stress you. Create healthy boundaries. This is something really tough for men. Really tough. Women have a hard issue with this too, but you really need to learn how to set boundaries, right? You need to know when people are crossing the line, pushing your buttons, triggering you emotionally. And I'll be honest with you, some of this evaluation could lead to you reconsidering certain types of relationships. They could be work relationships, friendships, intimate relationships, long-term relationships, marriages even. There are just some times that people are just not good for us. They've switched up. They don't align with us. They're not helping us to build and grow and become better. They're really just keeping us held back. Do you realize that? Would you give yourself permission to analyze the relationships that you have? And again, you don't have to just end it, but if you have to say, you have to learn how to communicate, guys. You have to use the mind and the mouth and the heart to communicate to people and they're going to be to communicate with people your boundaries. To say, "Hey, I don't like it when you talk to me this way or when you treat me this way, and I have to let you know. I care about you. I love you, but if you continue to do that, I am now going to create a boundary which if you do continue, I'm not telling you what to do, but if it continues, then I'm gonna have to pull back the amount of time that I spend with you." That would be one way to communicate that, but it's really important that you limit the things that stress you the hell out, right? We got enough to worry about. But when you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, guess what? There's a blockage. You lack motivation. And if you're feeling that lack of motivation, get your ass in the gym. You'll feel a lot better and you'll be able to handle the stresses a lot more. So here we go. Last 4. It's really important for you to start opening yourself up and considering spiritual practices. I talked about it in the mindfulness, but really like spending more time meditating, praying, right? Engaging in a spiritual community, right? Even just considering nature as being a spiritual community. Spending more time in nature, kicking off your shoes and socks, grounding, breathing, breath work, connecting with God, connecting with your spirit guides, starting to even research these things, right? Listening to some spiritual music, right? Spirituality is such a huge part of taking the burden off of your shoulders and trusting that there is a higher source, there is a higher power that is here to love you, to care for you, to guide you, and to show you the way for your best life. I have experienced this first and foremost, and so I will always continue to encourage spiritual practices. Number 11, of the 13 methods that can help you to push past your mental blockages. Number 11 is to engage learning, to stay educated, right? Never stop learning. It's so childlike, it's very youthful. Many times we resisted education growing up, right? The mandatory part that we just, once we became an adult, we said, leave me the fuck alone, right? I don't want nothing to do with that. And so we kind of check out from learning, and we should be learning every single day. You should have a lifetime learning mindset, always willing to learn, right? And one of the greatest things that you could learn about is yourself. What do you love? What do you hate? What do you want and why? Write those 4 things down. That's a journal exercise. If you want to start getting some journaling, some reflection, what do you love? What do you hate? What do you want and why? And don't edit yourself. No one's grading you. And I promise you, the biggest opportunity out of those 4 things is the things you hate, and really understanding, where does that come from? Where does that energy come from? Number 12 on the list, you want to practice being more kind to yourself. Self-compassion. What do we know about that? Being compassionate. Men, I think, are not inherently compassionate. Women have a lot more compassion, a lot more empathy, feeling connected. But we need to really start being kinder to ourselves. You definitely have an inner critic in your head, constantly doubting you, constantly filling you up with grief and guilt and shame and remorse and frustration, right? And you need to start observing when that pops up, and then start to say, you know what? I choose to release that. And you got to get into that spirit of forgiveness, which then kind of ties into the spiritual, right? The concept of forgiveness. And forgiveness isn't that someone that you accept that what someone did to you that hurt you emotionally is okay. It's accepting that it happened. You can't change that it happened, but you can empower yourself to move forward in life in a more positive way. And that's a beautiful thing. Because right now, if you're holding on to an unforgiveness, to bitterness in your heart, you are drinking poison. This is just coffee. But if you're unforgiving and bitter, you're drinking poison, wishing someone else dies. So get into a spirit of forgiveness, but forgive yourself. If you're carrying around burdens, if you're carrying around mistakes and fuck ups, it's time to process that. It really is. And it's not easy. It took me years upon years upon years of therapy, item number 1 on the list, for me to even understand, what does that mean to forgive yourself? I don't even know what that means. Cool, I forgive myself. No, like it's deeper. It's way deeper. It's understanding how everything has happened for you, not to you, and getting out of the victim mindset so you can be more empowered. And the final one is really a very serious one, right? Right now, men are 4 times more likely to take their lives, to kill themselves, to delete themselves from this earth. And so the final thing is that if you are just spiraling down and in such a state of pain, feeling so much pain emotionally, depression, feeling so overwhelmed, so unloved, so unappreciated, worthless, right? In general, like, you need to know that there are crisis lines. And it takes a real fucking warrior, a real courageous, bold man to ask for help. That was number 1. But number 13 is to know that if you're in crisis, reach the fuck out. Like, don't just stay silent. Don't just suffer in silence. And ultimately, do not take your life. Please, please, please do not allow that to happen. And I have been there. I have survived many dark nights of the soul when I thought that probably would have been the best option for me in the moment. But somehow, some way, right, by the grace of God, I got through that dark night. And I'm so grateful to be here before you today. So, with that being said, there is a way for you to break through mental barriers. But just like anything in life, you have to earn it. You have to have a willingness to say, I want something better out of how I'm feeling. I don't want to feel this way anymore. You have to truly get there. And I pray that you do not have to hit rock bottom the way I did. You could literally flip a switch and start asking for some help, start following these steps. Comment down below, right? If you're interested in any coaching from me, I would love to do a free discovery call with you. And also, just know we're building the Results Kill Excuses Personal Development Academy as I speak. And I'm going to be offering out a lot of really valuable content, coursework, and ultimately, the master program of all is the 12-week self-mastery transformational F journal. So stay tuned, comment, subscribe, and share this message if it was beneficial to you, because I want to continue improving how I present information so that I can truly share the successes and the pains and the continued challenges that I face as I continue to improve myself one day at a time. I love you guys. You know the drill. Results kill excuses, where your growth equals your greatness. Greg's out.